Alright, we're gonna go back to doing some Rust development. Okay. So first we gotta restart the server, and I have to start up Rust. And I have to update the extension we were working on the other day, because I'm working on pop-up messages, and I'm not sure if it'll work the way I want it to work. It has to work the way I want it to work, otherwise I have to redesign how I want to do the new framework. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a bit. First I want to join the server. Okay, well, that's loading. So the old framework, you know, it has controls that you render using control draw 4, and then it'll generate the packet and then send it across. This is very iffy, you know, this whole setup right here, very not my style. I started to kind of redesign it here, where I broke components down into their own dictionaries, and I'm going to break that down even farther. So components will have their own class definitions. And the control frame is kind of my first instance of how I want rendering for controls to work in regards to having them very similar to WinForms controls, where you create a control, then you add a child, and you can add child controls onto that. And when you draw the main one, all the children get drawn as well. So I have a whole written to-do of what I want the new system to handle. But first off, we have to check that the pop-up message actually works. Because pop-up message creates a pop-up control, and then it uses the timer that you have to pass in from the Rust plugin to have it pop up for a certain amount of time before it's destroyed, before it goes away. So that's just kind of a test, and that's what we're going to test here. First, verify the system still works. New game 18, we're going to stand. Ah, yes. Good game. Oh, that's a really iffy hand right there. Yeah. Alright, leave table, exit. So the UI works, so we're gonna restart it and update. The extension. Yes, that worked. Now we're gonna reconnect and test pop-up messages. So in order to test them, I believe extension test has it. Test extension 2, yes. So we'll update that after we get the server back online. Go. Okay. Good stuff. I'll update the test extension here. Okay, it loaded test x2, first test extension, so that works, and then test extension 2. Okay. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. So I fucked something up. Go to definition. So that error came from the rendering in drawing 4. from a component. So it means I fucked up the pop-up message. So let's pop-up dot alignment is set, background image, background type, bounds color, font size, message, font color, font size, message, parent. Those are all set except for parent, which is still null, but it should default the parent. Parent.getName, align, font size, font color, background image, bounds. That's why. Nope. Name, parent name, components.
Does it matter if I can't breathe out there? I've got memories of where we began, and you would follow my silhouette that grows bigger towards the sun. I can see your darkened eyes, and you are still hiding your smile.
Reach key value pair or with a var component item in component. I'll put a comma there. And that is a key value pair string string. Okay, so now we're gonna do UI. Oh my lord, it's indentation. UI dot log info, then it'll be component item dot e plus colon plus component item dot value. Okay, we have to reboot the server again, re-update with the new DLL, rebuild. Wait till I load all the way in. So, the problem I had was one of these components has a null value. And I can try catch ui.oxide.log info null value component item dot key. So what this should let me do is catch what the null value is, and from doing that I can see where I'm messing up in my code. So that will solve a lot of issues now. There we go. Now we wait for the server to come back up. Alignment set, background images set, background type, bounds set, colors set, font color. What am I missing that comes from control? Parent color bounds, that's it. Server back up. Yeah. Test extension 2. Type, image, color, black. Let me double check what this should be sending. This should be sending a black or white color. So a black color with white colored font. Why is there... Oh yeah, that's the font color. I don't think those would conflict with each other if I try rendering them in the same fashion and components. They may. They may conflict, actually. I doubt it. I have to go look at community entity.ui.cs. So, create component. So for each component type, it will do a different render. It'll whatever, create a different component. So they shouldn't conflict. So if it's anchor, min, and max, it's type, it's a line. Alright, so that's the type there. Type text message? That is wrong. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, I'm dumb. Text message. So that's the text, that's the background, and that's the anchor point for its location. Now, that is interesting. I wonder... let me double check something. So we're looking at we'll do a panel. No, not panel. We'll do a button. So it's a list of objects containing list of dictionaries. So this components is a list of objects containing a list of dictionaries. And it's running this one, which is right. Huh. Alright, well, we can always try this, right? Instead of messing with the framework, let's just mess with extension test and try the different forms. So we'll try a transparent background version of showing messages. Let's up. Okay. What was the command? Test extension, that's what it is. Test extension. Test extension 2. Same error. This time we got the transparent background. Okay. Now we're going to try, comma, timeout. Three seconds with a background image. And we'll do it like that. And our background image will be, I don't know, let me go find one. Images.google.com. Size exactly, let's just do 500 by 500. Looking for a JPEG. That'll work. Just testing, it's not the image component that's erroring. Because it's the image component. Yeah, it's Oxide mod that lets you develop Rust in C#. What's up, Sniper? Alright. Loaded. Test extension. Works. Test extension 2. Okay, so it's not the background image working, yeah. So it's not the background image that's throwing the error. Let's get rid of the text component real quick and see if it'll render that way. Let's see what happens. Yeah, a friend of mine has a Rust server. When I found out it was C#, I was like, oh, I'll look into it. So, that's not too bad. It's kind of fun. Oh god. Rebuild the extension. And restart the server. Yeah, the most difficult thing to understand was this extension stuff for Oxide development. All plugins are just done with CS files, but extensions are full-on DLLs. And all of this stuff, if you don't get it exactly right, it just throws a bunch of errors that make no sense, and there's like no documentation. I had to dig through the source code for like a week straight to figure it out. All while all my questions and stuff I asked on the forums, I got, even from the, you know, community admins and stuff like that, they were just giving me bullshit answers that made no sense, and I was like, okay, whatever. It's like, if you don't know, just don't answer my question. Don't sit there and tell me something that's completely wrong. But like, all your extensions have to start with Oxide ext, right? And then the suffix has to be the name of the extension class and the name here. And then with older extensions, whenever you were using plugins with it, you had to put a you had to put reference oxide.ext.ui, right? You had to put that at the top. Now that's like deprecated, but nowhere does it say it's deprecated. Now you just use the using statement. I don't know, it was a bunch of dumb shit. Alright, the server should be back up. Yep. Okay. I have no idea why it's like that. Several times I just thought about making my own build of the Oxide mod base, just so I could, you know, make it not like that. Extension test, or test extension 2. 1, 2, yeah. Why did that run both? Hold up. Oh yeah, I did leave that in there, whoops. Let me update that. It goes test x2. Okay, so the problem is with the text, but the timer's working. So now I have to figure out why this is erroring. So let's head up to the text item again. It's alignment, text. I guess you can't put text and images in the same thing. That's really, really wanky. That makes actually no sense to me. Look, here's the text. Here's the image. Text, font size, color, graphic component, create. Like, that shouldn't throw an error. So it needs color, it needs align, doesn't really need font. It needs font. So I have type, text is message, which is set. Not set, is it? Yes, it is set. Font size is our font size, which is set. Did I mess up setting the font size? There's no way. Yeah, I didn't. Font size 18, yeah, defaults to 18. Okay. Font color, I know I didn't mess up. Alignment. Alright, well, let's just test the other versions of this. UI color dot black. update that. Okay. Hold up. Where is... Needs cursor. Okay, we don't have that, so that's good. I have... Yeah, I guess they conflict with each other. I could always do it like this. UI dot add new dictionary string object name plus text comma a parent would be name. Why is that? Because I closed that. And then components, new list object. Wow, that is some terrible formatting. Oh man, this is hurting my eyes to look at it this way. Jesus, that's just disgusting. Okay, what else does text need? It needs just bounds, right? Yeah. Okay. Zero. Yeah. So it's going to be zero plus 1 minus 1. Okay. We're just gonna do it like this. Bounds.y is 0. Bounds.height is 1. I just want to get this working. 0 plus 1 is 0. Right? 0 and then 1 minus 1. So 0, 0 to 1, 1. Yeah. So I can just go 0, 0 to 1, 1. We can double check the output. Yeah. Okay. We can try that. See if that'll fix it. Extension test. Drag that over. Okay. Did an error, so that's a good start. Oh, I updated the framework, duh. I'm dumb. Let's update this as well. Comma. What is the... It's not... Oh my god, that is not the one I want. UI color background... Yeah, then it's font color and font size. UI color dot white 18. I will use 20. What's up, Clark? How old am I? I'm 19 now. I'll be 20 in April. Okay. I have to reboot the server now. Let me just update the extension first, or the plugin. Yeah. Okay. To deleted the link. I don't know what deleted link was. RIP. What was that link? Oh. Oh, maybe? I don't know. You may see a new exploit or two added onto there after they get I report them to BI and they patch them, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that yet or not. At this point, I just feel like BI deserves what they get, especially with the new DLC stuff, that DLC bullshit. Okay, why did it not render my text? Oh, that's nice. The one, I don't need that anymore. Oh, what's the exploit's context? No, it's a script execution exploit. Another one. There haven't been really any remote exec exploits that have happened recently, so yeah, it's been good at not messing that up. Why is this not? Background color. Let's just go with a let's try that. Oops. Yeah, it's not doing anything. So the text isn't rendering. So I don't think I can do pop-ups till I rebuild the framework, because really what this is going to be is, instead of doing a pop-up message, or this is without parent, yeah. Instead of doing a pop-up message, I would do something along these lines, which I can just do. So you do background smooth panel, background dot bounds equals new bounds 0.4, 0.4, 0. What is Oxide? Oxide development. Oxide is the modding like tools for Rust and these other games. So whenever you use Oxide, it goes into the modded list, the modded tab for the game, and you're able to use plugins and extensions to mod the server. So right now I'm working on UI. I'm building test extension. I'm working on a UI framework because with the casino that I'm building, I need the new UI framework so I can work on a poker game. Because like we have blackjack, but I want to add poker that all players can play against each other in the game. Yeah, I busted again. Rip. I will stand on 18. Oh shit, tied. Okay. But yeah, I need the new UI framework so I can handle poker and people spectating poker, etc. So what I'm working on now is pop-up messages. So while people are playing poker, if they're trying to do something and it's like, yo, you can't do this, it just pulls up a pop-up message saying, hey, you can't do that. And with the way I built it originally, which is really, really poor, that was my first attempt, it's not easy to do that. So now I am getting rid of that because that's shit. And we're just going to try it with the code I am writing. This is in 3 seconds. There we go. This is Terra. Yeah, Terra's whatever, Rust servers. Yeah. Yeah, on the modded Rust servers that my friend runs for Terra, they have what, server rewards, so you can buy stuff, and with your money that you have, you can also go and play right now just blackjack in the casino and try to win some extra. I don't have enough RP to bet that much. Oh yes, look at that 21. That's not even fair. Whatever. Yeah, blackjack is. It is. Blackjack's a very rigged game, but poker, that'll be the fun game once it's in. All right, so we need to test this extension test. Still transferring. That goes. Okay. Test extension 2. See, that's what I want for the pop-up message, and then it'll go away in 3 seconds. Yeah. The problem is using a panel. It grabs your mouse control, so I have to create a modified version of the panel that doesn't do that. That doesn't use this needs cursor. Well, the casino right now, besides it being poorly formatted, it uses... Yeah. Okay. Is this it? Card game, yeah. So it uses a set number of decks of cards. So, and it's anywhere between 1 and 3 decks. So it's not completely rigged. It's just mostly rigged. But provably fair is something that I would completely list this as. It follows the rules that are listed, and it follows the rules of blackjack, or at least what they were before they changed them like a few years ago. To like before it used to be what winnings of blackjack was 3-2. Now they made it like even worse than that. So if you bet 10, you win 12. I just kept it at if you bet 10, you win 15 because it's a little bit better that way. I know I hit the tree. I'm a professional player. But yeah, so this is what I wanted the pop-up to completely handle, and that's not going to be easy to do with my current setup. So I do have to work on this new forms type thing. Step 1 is to keep the existing framework and deprecate it. Step 2 is to build a new one from scratch, blah blah blah. But yeah, I want the Rust UI that's in game to all work similar to Windows Forms. So by creating a Windows Forms application, you know, you already have kind of a knowledge on how to do it. So if I look at this, not now. So like all the Windows Forms, they have the child controls, and then of those controls, you can have more controls. Oh, cancel import from LDF. So I want it to work very similar to how this one works with, where am I looking? Main form designer. So very similar to how this works. Where's this here? So initialize component, you know, you create all of the objects you need, and then you can initialize them. You can have callback events like this. So in Rust, that's not possible. You have, whenever a button is clicked, it sends a command through console to the server, and you have to handle it that way. What I want is one centralized system, so you can add, you know, click event handlers like Windows Forms do, and whenever you do click the button, it sends that console command, and then from that console command triggers the click event. Same thing with everything. And then eventually, like if we go down, yeah. Where is it? Well, where is this? Hold up. Come on, it's added in here somewhere. Yeah, controls. So it has child controls. I want that as well. So right now, the way that Rust UI works is, yeah, stop debugging. Okay. The way Rust UI works is you set a UI like panel or whatever. You give it a name. You give it all of its description components. So it's what it is, its position, you know, and other things like that. And then in order to have a child control, you pass in through its parent the name of the control you want it to be a parent of. That I could easily handle, but Rust doesn't automatically do that. Oxide does have a Lua version, but they added the C# because C# is a much better language, and it gives me control to build these DLLs, right, which are extensions. So I can sit here and say, okay, from this extension I can do anything I want. I can do anything. I could call or load in extra DLLs, stuff like that. I have the full power of C# and of the computer. Whereas in, you know, plugins, I'm stuck to what Rust allows me to have access to. So doing like web requests, I have to run through their web request API, just stuff like that. So with extensions, I'm able to do all that. Plus, I'm better at C#, so. I never really got into Lua. I tried, but I never got into it. But and I've done custom control work in WinForm stuff, so building this new form is not going to be too hard. What I can do actually is take this code and just throw it into a panel thing and call it a day, but that's really iffy. And then these timers, right? So these timers run in seconds in Rust. I could create in plugins. You can't create your own timers or your own threads. In extensions, you can. So I need this extension to handle a lot. And then Rust doesn't handle PNGs very well, so I have to learn how PNGs are handled. I still haven't learned that. but there's very little, like the documentation for Rust is very poorly done. Like this is about all they give you, which is your hooks that you can call, you know, all the different functions you can call, how to access other plugins, their dumb web request features. That's about all they tell you. They don't really tell you a whole lot about how to get into development. Like there's one forum post that's kind of iffy to follow, and that's about it. So it's definitely a pain in the ass to get into. But once I started to understand it and learn how to access stuff, that plus using ILSpy to look at the assemblies themselves to find stuff that I didn't know existed, that's kind of where I've been going. Now UI is kind of my thing. I really want to take Rust UI and make it very, very, very easy to work with. But this is like, rebuilding this UI is like a week-long project. Because the initial framework that I built, right, I took most of this code from someone else's UI plugin, this KDR UI. I took it from this, and I just modified it into my framework, and then I rewrote this using my framework. So it's not like this whole disgustingness that is here. None of that I wrote. I just kind of copy pasted it and then kind of merged it in with how I wanted to kind of work with it originally. But now I'm just finding I need to completely redo how I want to do it, because doing this stuff is just so disgusting. So I have to initialize a control frame, initialize all my controls and add them to the frame. And then any control that isn't going to be rendered with the frame, I have to initialize it separate, and then I have to render it on the fly whenever I want to access it. So in something like this, if I want to render a card, where is it? It's in here somewhere, yeah. If I want to render a card, I have to create a new UI image or a new UI element for it and then render that manually. So it's definitely a pain in the ass. Whereas what I really want is just to be able to, you know, toggle a variable from visible from true to false and have that immediately show or hide it. But I don't know, we'll get there. Oh, they loaded the new world on this one. Damn. Cars spawns clear. Cars remove. Cars spawns add. Cars in it. Okay. But so I have all the different components. Rect transform, countdown, text, image, raw image, button, outline. So I should make the components. So let's start with that. So class, component. There really isn't a whole lot I need from base class except for converting the component variables into what I can use to parse it into JSON. Because sending UI from server to client, I have to take what I have, convert it to JSON in a specific format, and then pass it across. And if I don't format it correctly, it kicks the client out of the server. So we need class component, class text component. Text component is a type of component. Do I want to call it text component? Well, what should I name those classes? Because I don't like putting component at the end of all of them. But at the same time, I need to, because I can't just put it as text, because that's going to be a control type. It doesn't have to be a control type, actually. I could work directly as if I'm working with WinForms and call them labels. I still do not understand how outlines work. I've been trying to get them to work forever. I've got everything else to work except for those. So the interface needs to implement public dictionary string get JSON safe list. Oh, well, that's... Come on. Implement interface. Oh, I can do this. Implement interface. Oh, this is... Good job, Visual Studio, with this. Amazing. So we'll start with the simple ones like needs cursor component. Private bool needs cursor. I don't need that actually, because it only checks to see if the component is there. Yeah. those offsets don't need to be set. So I probably need the bounds class, because the rect transform component needs x, y, width, and height, and I don't want to have to pass those in directly. I'll pass them in directly. Float x. Yeah, we'll make these private. So we'll set all these variables up, and then this is the calculations. These are the calculations I need. Oh, I'm done. Hello? Type needs cursor. Yeah, that's the way that's supposed to be done. So return new dictionary string. The x.toString 1 minus y height x plus width 1 minus y. X equals 0. We'll give these default values. Equals 0. Equals 1. Equals 1. So I don't need to necessarily define them. Okay. We need the countdown component, which needs end time and start time. Blah 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 blah. Set down here. So the command needs to be So the command for a countdown component needs to call the main event handler. So this is where it's gonna get iffy. We'll do this one later. To do command function question mark. Then we need int time or public. We'll just do countdown component int seconds. So this dot seconds equals seconds. Okay. We'll get to that later. That's done. That's done. See, now comes the outline components. Where is that at? Yeah, outline. How? I don't even understand how this works. Use graphic alpha. Yeah, I don't understand how this component works. So it takes in a color and then an effect distance. Is that like the Photoshop version of Outer Glow? But then, what would this represent, this -1? That I don't know. So, we know we need its color. So we do need a color class. Class color? Let me double check there's no other color. There's whatever Unity engine colors. So we can't call it color, otherwise we'll have that. Otherwise it'll be hard to access. So the color. I don't know. We could just call it class UI color. Again, I could just copy my UI color class. Those use doubles, so I should probably use doubles in the rest of my code. You need to fix glitches where you can go through walls such as rocks and jump out of the vents and launch. That's kind of an iffy thing, because I'd have to constantly monitor how players are moving, and on large population servers, that could take a massive toll on the server. I definitely know what you mean, because I've managed to do that myself, those bugs. I'll definitely look into that. It's kind of like, I'd have to think about how I'd go about doing that. Rusty has it. Can you just find certain variable that identifies each item and makes it so it's solid? Maybe. That's a good idea. Make these doubles. I can. I'm pretty sure I can, because I can, disabling collisions quite easily between objects and items. I could probably do something like that, and yeah, that's actually a really good idea. There's a lot of different ways to go about doing that. I'll definitely look into that. Yeah, the player models each have their own layer that they're on, but simply improving, double checking their collision with objects might not solve it. I may have to just create just collision, like basically invisible collision entities inside of the locations the players can glitch through. I don't know. I'd have to look through it. Yeah, I could scan the map for all the different objects that that you can collide with or whatever, bug through. I already do a ton of map scanning stuff for the vehicle spawning plugin I wrote. So I have the same issue with button, you know. To do handle closing and click events. Click, not clock. I don't know, the way I'm laying out these components is kind of iffy. Because when I add them to a control, they need to be able to access that control. I guess I could pass in or set the control value whenever you instantiate the control in the component. Then you'd be able to access the control data. It's still kind of iffy though. Huh. I don't know. I don't know. Some form of theming that'll come from the forms section. Pop-up message handling, forms handling for PNG files. We'll need that. image handling. Found region rendering question mark. I don't know if we'll need that region or not. Registering controls in a master list, that would be inside the form. Event callback functions, I'll need to figure out how I'm going to go about doing that. Proper management for showing and hiding controls inside a form without flickering. Sub controls, when you flip their visibility, it'll render or unrender them. The ability to render different forms on a per person basis, that'll be done separate from this framework. So whenever you build a form, it'll give it a new name and stuff like that. Yeah, that'll work. Pound region, new framework. And region. What? No. Okay. Hello? Yeah, I don't know. Because the components... Oops, what am I typing? Ah, alright. Yes? Oh, hold up. I have to give it access. Are you okay? Oh, he hung up. Alright, he's not okay. We're good. But yeah, this countdown command has to call a unique command, pass in the form that it's inside of, and then also pass in the control that it's inside of. So can I do it that way? So the control can have the event handler, the form can set the event handler. So then when it passes all that in, it'll look through the master list of forms, it'll find that one, the form that it got called from, then it'll find the control it got called from, and it'll call that event handler. So when the control is rendered, it has to update the countdown component's command parameter with all the data it needs. So get JSON save list should probably have a control parameter with which control it's calling it. Because then I can just say get JSON safe list or whatever component get JSON safe list this, and then that will structure the command. In order to do that, I'd have to set up the basic form and control list. So that could work. Either that or I could set the event handler in. No, I couldn't set it. Yes, what's up? Alright. That could work, yeah. I think I'll do it that way. With the event in the control. Because only the controls that have the components will need the event. Yeah, that'll work. So this has to pass in a control class. So I need a base control class or an interface for one. Interface iControl. And this would need an iControl control. Well, now I need to go through and update all these methods. And then this would need a parent interfaces cannot contain fields. Yeah, I forgot that. iForm get parent string get name string get name. So they do need that. So then I can say command is going to be, I don't know. I am not gonna play that. Then I'm not playing that. Countdown space plus control dot get parent. That'll work. And then same with the button. So button on click will do the same thing. It will pass in the form name and then the control name. Oh no! Because you could have... Oh no! Because its parent doesn't have to be an iForm, it could be an iControl. Because you could have controls inside of controls. That won't work. Okay. Can they do that? Oh, they can. Okay. So we can do I element get parent. And then we need I form I element. So then string command equals countdown. And then just put that in there for a second. I element parent equals control dot get parent if not parent is I control. If its parent's not a control, we break out of it. Otherwise, so no matter what we do, command plus equals space plus parent dot get name. So this will list its parents until it gets to the form, and once it gets its form, obviously it can no longer get its parent. No, that's not going to do it. I control hang on, I have to rethink this. So we have a I control, which is type I element. When we call its get parent, it'll give us an I element. So we need I element current element equals control. And we say while current element is hang on. If current element command plus equals space plus current element dot get name, and then current element equals current element dot get. Okay. So if current element is I control, then current element equals I control. We can cast it to a control and say get parent, and we can continue. I could probably do a do while actually. That's probably better. So this will take our current control, get its name, add it, and then it'll get its parent. No, that won't work either. Because if its parent isn't an I control, that'll kick us out right there, and it won't get us a form name. We're just gonna use a while true because I could care less about else break. I could care less. Okay. So that'll build our command. And then that'll list command, our current control, the parent control, the parent control, the parent control, the parent control, dot 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 dot, the parent form. So then starting at the very last control, I can work my way backwards and jump through the lists and find all the controls until I get to this one. That'll work. Hey Cole. That'll work. Anyway, I'll be back. 1 second. Okay. I'm back. So I've been streaming for almost 2 hours now. Probably gonna stop streaming and play some games, and then pick up the streaming here in like 5 hours or something like that, around midnight Eastern. So I'll probably come back to this. I definitely would I need to get my mind off of this and come back and take a look at it from a different perspective, because I'm really starting to get worried about how this is gonna act with the rest of my framework. I need to just take time and come back at it and revisualize it. So that's it for the stream now. Like I said, I'll probably be live again in 5 hours or so. So thanks, Term. I will see you guys in 5 hours, I guess. Oh, I just started recording. Whoops. I'm a smart